yes, I'm a physio and fit as a physio. These are some taping techniques I use to prevent and treat injuries.
So, shoulders, because, what's your name? Adam. Because Adam's quite a solid fella, we probably use a 50, have you got a 50 here?
Yep.
We probably use 50mm tape for his shoulders, because his are quite big. So to use 38s, there's nothing wrong with 38s, but we're probably going to have to do 4 or 5 overlaps compared to 350s. So we'll use 350s. So if we assume that Adam is a anterior dislocator of his left shoulder, we're going to try and protect him popping out anteriorly, okay? You, footy boy?
I have anteriorly dislocated my right shoulder.
Okay, cool. Let's assume that Adam is not a line-out jumper in rugby, for example. Okay, so it doesn't need to get his arms right up off above his head. So we need to strap him probably down a bit lower. We'll assume that he's popped his shoulder before. If he's not too lax, I might actually strap him here. But most commonly, I'll get them to rest their arm by their on their hip. So when I anchor around sort of upper arm, just careful that you don't catch off any underarm hair, because they won't be happy with you. For most of the guys, I'll go fairly long with my anchors. So anchors, I'm coming down to sort of mid-chest. Have a feel for where collarbone comes over to AC. You want to be a bit off their AC if you're doing an instability tape. And you're coming right down to sort of mid-back. So that's quite a long anchor. I find that these longer ones, you get much more purchase on the tape compared to doing something that's quite short up here. If he's a front rower and a scrummager, I might actually do my instability tape sort of up quite high, mid chest to mid, sort of upper chest to upper back, and lock it off there, just because they can get their arms up here and they find that it just pulls a bit down through here when they scrummage. So the other guys, they might go a bit higher, but most of the guys I'll strap down low.
You see the AFL ones,
they're up quite high.
Yeah, it's really just over the deltoid. Is that doing much?
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think that's all just TV stuff again. They're all, yeah, they don't want showing off their tape to their opposition. So, commonly we're going to come across the anterior part of the joint to try and protect that area. Okay, so most of the time I'll start down quite low, and you don't have to put too much force into that, but have the tape sort of fairly taut. And you can either stop on the edge of the tape here, but because he's a dislocator, I'm going to go right around up and under his arm. So when he goes into a bit of an abduction, external rotation position, if you do that now, it should stop him. And I'm holding on there because that's where my anchor's going to go, but he can't go any further than that. Try and pull as hard as you can. He can't go anywhere, all right? So that's what we want to try and protect, okay? So that one around the arm really stops that dislocation. Now I basically cover that 2 or 3 times. Again, just watch his underarm hair, up and around, so you're really locking that off. The third one, you might not need to go right round. The fourth one, the same, you might not need to go as far around. But again, if he tries to then pull back into that same position, it should block him. So if he goes to make a tackle and misses, and someone's there, the tape's hopefully going to stop him. Maybe not 100%, but that's the aim. Now that might be enough. We could probably just lock that off and he might feel that that's enough. Most guys will want something sort of going slightly back in the opposite direction. So you're going from upper arm, find where your AC is. AC should almost sit through a little triangle in your tape. And you can see how my strips are going from anchor to anchor. I'm not trying to overlap them too much. Makes it a bit cleaner and neater. And then lock him off. Again, I might use 2 of these long ones just to really hold those ends down. One around the upper arm. Sometimes get them to flex their bicep or even turn their arm out, just so you don't go too tight and really cut off their blood flow there. And then if he's a big sweater, I might wrap him in a bit of 75mm elastic wrap to hold those ends down. But again, if he goes into his abduction external rotation position, he's not really going anywhere. Adam's a big boy, and that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right. So that's what you need to do. You really got to lock them in. So that's my anterior instability.
Do you overwrap that?
You could. So again, if he's a a recurrent dislocator, I might actually wrap this whole thing up and around and over his shoulder and, you know, really lock it in, and do that 3 or 4 times. Really lock him all the way in, so again, he's not going anywhere. That's pretty solid. But he can go out with confidence that that's not going to pop, and he can whack as hard as he wants to with that arm and that shoulder, legally. Of course. Questions about that?
Yeah.
What about
Women.
pretty much the same? You've obviously got to be careful of in and out of bras. You can see obviously with guys too, I'm not going smack bang over a nipple. That's pretty damn sensitive, and I have seen people do it, and students do it, where they cover right over, and you just look at them and go, are you going to be happy taking that off? Because I'm sure the person is not going to be. So yeah, you're just basically going, you can go over top of bras if you want to go slip under bras. Sometimes they might just prefer to go upper chest to upper back and lock it off that way. I'll do that one now. Quick wax while we're here. So you can probably get away with doing that one for anterior dislocations, a little bit of inferior dislocations too, because you're almost sort of pulling it up at the same time. Posteriors are pretty rare, but you probably want to just slightly change your angle of force and maybe bring it a bit more posterior. Breathe in. Questions? Fergus, anything to add?
Is it you tape over the AC joint when you go across the shoulders?
For instabilities, I try not to stay away from the AC. I'll show you my AC strap in a sec. I think the biggest pitfall is the not locking the shoulder around the back enough.
Yeah.
So strips are here, they peel off here, they peel off here, and
I'm actually moving to just an elastic figure of 8 around
Wrap.
the whole thing for a lot of people,
yep,
just for speed.
yep.
Someone
It's how
doesn't-
unstable they are.
Yeah, if someone
Yeah.
doesn't need that much.
Yep.
So just the overwrap you did with the white, I do with the EAB, the fluffy edge bandage stuff, as an 8, figure of 8.
Yep.
And I find a lot of blokes like that.
Yep, but there's no right or wrong with that. So yeah, if he's a front row and doesn't want to have these strips right down here, you can just do your instability tape from here and strap him up 3 or 4 strips across the front.
And this is your girls, ladies.
And girls, if you want to still go around the corner and underneath, you can.
Having said that, what you did, I would do on 70% of people,
Yep.
and maybe just as a lighter option, just the EAB.
So you just do that front and back, and then you could just lock that off. I tend to use the light fix or the Fixamol to lock it off as your anchor. That just tends to work a little bit better than just the rigid. If you're coming across here and just putting a couple of sort of locking strips across here, I find that doesn't hold as well. If you put the light fix on as more the 10 centimetre, that actually holds down a bit better, sticks to the skin a bit better. Anything different? ACs, how would we tape ACs?
Craig, I probably do position the arm a bit better. Like that's the textbook one, and I get a lot of blokes who present them. Since I've been at another footy club, they'll present themselves to me like that.
Yep.
I bring them round into a bit more horizontal flexion.
Yep.
Like I feel like that's almost not too much extent.
Too much back?
Yeah, so I bring them round into.
Yep.
I'll position their elbow on my sternum there, so
Yep.
I've got control over this end of the arm.
Yep.
Just so they're a bit more horizontal flexion, because part of the injury is
Yeah.
that horizontal extension.
I've
So
done it like this too, bring it a
Yeah.
bit far in front, and then you're strapping
Yeah,
away with a
fine.
little bit anterior.
Then you've got a tighter rope
Yeah.
between across the front there.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah.
Yep, just depends on how aggressive you want to make it.